Hi, I'm Lucy James and I listen to the One Up Gaming podcast.
Hi, David here, One Up Gaming. Gonna go through this week's podcast. It is episode 390. It is, I don't know why I've got 17th. Oh, it's coming out on the 17th. I'm an absolute idiot. This is going to be a Formula 1 focused show. All the games I've been playing are all Formula 1 related games. We talk about Halo Season 2, and we talk a lot about the Formula 1 stuff that's happened this last week with the FIA president and the Alpine staff, that type of stuff. And the 10 minutes of nothing, I guess we have to talk about the Yuzu sort of stuff, which does make a lot of sense because that technically has just sort of happened, hasn't it? So yeah, without further ado, we'll do this week's show. So hi, David here, One Up Gaming, episode 390 of the One Up Gaming podcast. As always, we're sponsored by Games Inspired Music. It's an album, you can buy it, you can stream it, and 20% of each sale will go to the Child's Play charity. And we also have our first 100 podcasts available from audiobooksontape.com, and £1 of each sale will go to the Diabetes UK charity. So that is the intros, that is the hellos, that is the everythings. Please like and subscribe. Send us any messages on Twitter or X, just at OUGofficial, and email us, contact@oneupgaming.co.uk. We'd love to hear from you, love to see things in McLaren top that I've got on. I love Formula 1. So yeah, we'll be back after this quick break.
Hi, I'm Keith Allen, and I play Murphy on Z Nation, and I listen to One Up Gaming Podcast.
Hello, Andy. This is Colin. I won't be able to get in tonight. I'm sweating like a pig.
So, David here, One Up Gaming. We're going to talk about, well, let me just count the games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 games I've played this last week or so. I've got them all up on our YouTube channel, so if you're interested in any of these games, then please have a look. Just search One Up Gaming, go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to us, like us, bell us, all that good stuff. And you can see these random games that I play every day and get up online. And also, we do get sent games to review and games to play, new games, so we do have new stuff on there all the time as well. So, as I said, this is a F1 special show, just because I love Formula 1. I completely missed the start of the Formula 1 season. As I'm recording this, the first race has happened, and I was so excited to watch it. It was quite a boring race, but I was just so intrigued in all the inter-team politics and how the sort of like the testing and all that kind of stuff, see if that all came to fruition. And it was quite good. I quite enjoyed the show. So yeah, we'll talk about the games we've been playing this week. So first of all, we have to talk about F1 World Grand Prix, and we played this on the PS1. So I think this is the 1999 edition, and what can I say? It's a PlayStation game. It's very arcadey. Even when they're not trying to be arcadey, they are very arcadey. And yeah, it's not as good as the N64 version or the sequel that was on the Dreamcast, but it's an adequate, decent little game to play. I quite enjoyed it. But going into the next sort of phase, we played F1 World Grand Prix on the N64, and this at the time was a revelation. All they had to do was show the replay on the TV as a on the advert. It was like a replay of the game, and it looked, back then it looked almost real. It was amazing. It really was good. Frame rate about 20 frames a second at a push at best. It drops a little bit, but it plays so well, it looks so good, it feels really good, and even now it's one of the better F1 sort of games you can play in the early 3D era, and I really enjoyed this one. Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really good. So that was the N64 version, which was fun. So next up, I'll just talk about this as a pair, because it's just F1 pole position 1 and 2 on the Super Nintendo. And this one is more of a Mode 7-ish sort of game, viewed from behind the car. All these, I'm going to sound really snobby now, but the vast majority of games before they went 3D on like racing games, I didn't really enjoy. They were quite fun and things like that, but I just didn't enjoy the feeling. I could hear a big bangs going on next door, I think. The handling, the physics just don't quite go together as what you'd hope. Don't get me wrong, there is some games that started off as the arcade Sega sort of stuff, which was 2D sprite scalers, and they got the act together and they played really well. Just having a look out of my cupboard then to see if I could see anything happening, but no, nothing. But yeah, little 2D sprite scalers, they were really fun. But some of these games on the SNES and the Mega Drive especially, because that really was underpowered, because it was like quite old at the time. The Mode 7 was fun. It was good on like Mario Kart, it was good on F-Zero, it was good on other arcadey inspired games, but when you're trying to do a realistic sort of game, when everything is pure flat, like the tracks, you're racing are pure flat, because that's Mode 7, it's just a 2D sprite stretched across and made to rotate and stuff. But so F1 pole position 1 and 2, it wasn't very good. I didn't enjoy the games. So next up, another 3D inspired game, and this was F1 World Grand Prix. I think this was one of the, I think it was an official game on the PlayStation Portable. I think. I'm questioning myself now. And it just says the F1. So whether if I just sort of turn that off for a second and click on this. Yeah, Sony Computer Entertainment presents F1 World Grand Prix. So that was a official Formula 1 game for the PlayStation Portable. I believe it had been about 2005-ish. When was the PlayStation Portable? Yeah, I think it'd have been around that sort of time, wouldn't it? Can't remember now. Anyway, this game looks great for a PSP game. And I know that sounds really derogatory and all this kind of stuff, but some of the PSP stuff looked horrendous and played horrendous. But this one looks good, it plays well, and I really enjoyed the feeling. It had more pick up and play ability. It had a lot more little tiny bits to do onto the game, which was quite fun. I really enjoyed that type of thing. But yeah, so for the PSP, it was an amazing little F1 game. I really enjoyed it. Good game. So next up we have F1 World Championship Edition for the Mega Drive, and it's trying to look like a sprite scaler on the Mega Drive, but the Mega Drive can't really do sprite scaling, so it looks very clunky and chunky, and it just didn't play well. The handling's really bad, and yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. It's probably one of the better Mega Drive games, but yeah. And then there was F1 Circus CD that I played for the Mega CD. And I believe that's the Japanese name. I can't remember what it was in the UK. But yeah, there was an F1 game for the Mega CD. and it looks and plays better, but it's still a horrendous game to play, to be honest. Graphically it's a little better, but it's very minimal in the background department, but it's fast, and I guess that's what you need in these sort of games. So next up, back to the PS1, and we played F1 98, and I believe this is the one, the F1 98 was the first game after Bizarre Creations did F1 97. Did I not play F1 97? Oh. No, I might not have played F1 97. No, I thought I would have done. That would have been one of the easy ones to do because that was amazing. Anyway, F1 98. Or this one's like Formula 1 98. And this one, I believe it was done by Visual Science. Were they Scottish? Or was that just my head imagining things? But Visual Science, I think the game looked so much better. Graphically, it just looked clean. The graphic, just everything just looked a lot better. But the playability and the frame rate was nowhere near as good as the Formula 1 game and the Formula 1 97 that was done by Bizarre Creations. And say what you want to say, this was their first year doing it, and they only had like a year to do it because they didn't know Bizarre Creations was going to go and make games for Sega and the Dreamcast, because they left to go do Metropolis Street Racer. But yeah, Formula 1 98, I think it got really bad reviews at the time, but going back to it now, yeah, it's not great, but it's still better than what everyone was saying at the time. And we also played one of the EA Sports games, and that was F1 Championship Season 2000. And again, I believe this one is a continuation of the Visual Science. Was it Visual Science? Can't remember now. But it's the same team who did F1 98 before Sony brought it in-house and did that. Studio 33 did it. But F1 Championship Season 2000 is the same team that did the F1 98. And you can see they've had a few years to hone the engine, to polish it and to clean it up, and it looks and plays really well. It's one of the better F1 games on the PlayStation, to be honest. So then next up we have the Formula 1 06 on the PS2. And this was, I think, Studio 33, or was it Studio Liverpool? Which was then changed to Sony Studios or something stupid. Oh, my cup of tea stuck to the table. There we go. I've got it, lads. And lasses. I know there's definitely one lass out there that's stupid enough to watch this. Anyway, F1 06 looks and plays amazing. I loved this. It's so fast, it's so smooth. It is just a perfect F1 game. I really, really, really enjoyed this. I don't know why I drink my cups of tea when I'm making this. I guess I need like moisture in my mouth. But yeah, it's again, it's just one of the better games. PS2, I was going to say underrated, but no, it wasn't. It's like 100 million consoles sold. It was amazing. It was a great console. And Formula 1 06, I think the only negative I could say about the Formula 1 games at this period of time, it was when Sony got into a kind of rut, and every game was just basically the same, just with new season stats and cars, but they all were very similar games, weren't they? So we'll move on, and we have F1 2002 on the Game Boy Advance. Now this one, it is very chunky. It looks like the old Mega Drive sort of games. I wasn't a big fan of the handling mechanic of this. Like a lot of these Formula 1 2D sprite-based games, they just don't feel and play very good. But for GBA, it looks nice. It looks graphically nice, pleasing on the eye, very pixelated, but what do you expect? So then we have F1 Pole Position 64. Now this was by Ubisoft, I think they released this one, and it's not got a patch on the F1 World Grand Prix 1 and 2 for the N64. It looks very, very minimal. The the polygons, it's like 6 polygons per car. It's very chunky, very square and pointy. The handling's not as good. It feels very understeery. The pace just doesn't feel there. It just feels slow and sluggish, and graphically it's just rubbish. So F1 Pole Position 64, carrying on the pole position name, it's just not very good. Well, and then we're coming on to more official Formula 1 games from Sony. So Formula 1 2000 and Formula 1 2001. I'm not sure if I've got both the trailers or videos of these. There's 2000 and 2001, yeah. I've got both of these trailers, so they'll be on in the background. And I will say, these look amazing and they play really well. They are so arcadey though, even though you go into the sim mode and stuff. But yeah, it's astonishing what the PS1 could do when a team that knew what they were doing made games for it. And I believe these were made by Studio 33, who were an internal studio, and they did, I think, did they do the, oh, was that Road and Track and Road, something? Who did the anti-grav bike, Jet Racer? I can't remember now. I know these are the ones I think did the rally games, Rallycross 1 and 2. I think these did that, so they probably had an engine of some sort, and they could really get these games up and running. And then change of pace, PC games now. Racing Manager 2014. So this is an oldie. I used to enjoy it when I was like a kid. I mean literally a kid, because like this is like 10 years ago. But I'm sure I played a game like Racing Manager like 07 or Racing Manager 10. No, Racing Manager, oh god, it must have been maybe even like in the 90s. Maybe it was even in the 90s, man. But this game, it looks slicker. It's got a 3D match engine. It's got a 3D race engine, so when you're doing the managing of the race, you can actually see what's happening, and it'll do like little replays and things. And it plays very similar to all these new management racing games now, where you little dudes are racing around and you just make them say push harder, slow down, try to overtake, pit in, pit out, new strategies, that kind of thing. And yeah, it's adequate. It's just very chunky and not the best bitch, but that's because like it's like 10-year-olds, isn't it? It's old. So the last game that we played this week to end the Formula 1 madness, and that is Motorsport Manager on the PC. And imagine Racing Manager 2014, that style of game, but it's been given a slick new paint job. Even though this came out in 2016, I think, so it wasn't that much newer, but everything just had that fine graphical sheen to it. It all was a lot more refined, that type of thing. I think it was on the mobile first for a few years, and then they came over onto the PC, made it bigger, made it better. And I think Sega published it as well, so there was a big name there doing the management side of things. So yeah, it's a great game. But with Motorsport Manager, it's not just the Formula 1 game, like the tracks, the Formula 1 style cars. You can do like Indy stock, you can do loads of style of racing and cars and stuff, and it's a really, really good game. I think they're up to Motorsport Manager 3 now, I think. I'm not sure, but yeah, go onto Steam, go onto Google, have a look, see what you think. Go to our YouTube channel, have a look through some of them, and yeah, that's the games we've been playing this week. I do have to mention the fact that I watched 5 episodes, because that's what's out currently, 5 episodes of Season 2 of Halo, and oh my god, it is amazing, absolutely amazing. I just love the fact it's all out combat, all out action, and then it's got 1 or 2 episodes where it brings everything down as proper hat moments, and it's just enough to keep it sort of ticking away, get the characters, get their feelings and emotions and stuff, and then all of a sudden back to the actual shooty kill bang bangs, and it is just really good. And because it's the F1 sort of special, I will just say that we have had in the last sort of week or so 2 staff quit from the Alpine F1 team, which was quite weird, but understandable, because I think they were already announced they were leaving sometime, not officially but within the team they'd announced, but they'd actually quit technically before the first race, but they stayed on to help during the weekend, and then as of Monday there was the email that went out through the team that said yep, they've gone. So can Alpine resurrect their season, or are they going to finish the worst car team of this year? It's not looking good for them. It's really not looking good. And we have to mention the fact that the FIA president has been accused of race tampering, and this is because last year, the first race of the season, Fernando Alonso qualified 3rd and started the race 3rd, and when he pulled up to his pit box or start box to start the race, he was slightly a couple of inches too far out of the box, and he apologised, said he couldn't see because of the halo and new car and everything, but he got told that he had to have a 5-second stop and go penalty. So as they were racing around, someone crashed, he came into the pits, they did the 5-second stop, and then they did the pit stop as normal. So instead of it being like a 3-second pit stop, it was like an 8-second pit stop, which makes sense. But when you watch the replays, for the first 5 seconds you're not supposed to touch or interact with the car at all, but it looked as though someone put the jack under the front of the car to keep it steady, and because of that, later on in the race, he finished 3rd and then was on the podium and everything, and then it announced that he'd actually been given a 10-second penalty for that, and that dropped him down to 4th, and then his team fought it. This is what was out last year. His team questioned the thing. They explained the reasons why, like they weren't working on the car, they were just holding it still, that kind of thing, and then all of a sudden the 10-second penalty was dropped and they were given 3rd again. But now it looks as though it was the FIA manager who actually, well, not even manager, the president is the one that actually came along and told him to drop the penalty. So it looks as though he might be getting it done. But is this weird timing, how it's just come out just as the Christian Horner stuff was getting ramped up again? It's just weird. I think there's a massive civil war going on in Formula 1. It's fun to watch from the outside, but it is still weird. So that is what we've been doing on this week's show, episode 390 of the One Up Gaming podcast. So David here, One Up Gaming, thank you. Back after this break.
Hi, I'm Matt Kapp, the lead artist on Binding of Isaac Rebirth and the creator of Castle in Darkness, and I listen to the One Up podcast.
Up next on the One Up Gaming podcast is 10 minutes of nothing. Will it be the team talking about nothing or a guest interview? Stick around and find out now. It's 10 minutes of nothing. Yeah, 10 minutes of nothing.
Hi, David here, One Up Gaming, episode 390 of the One Up Gaming podcast. Now, we're going to go through this week's 10 minutes of nothing. If people don't know, 10 minutes of nothing is basically we select a topic and we put a timer on screen and we talk about it for 10 minutes, and once the timer reaches 0 we stop the topic and we end the show. So this week I think I'm a week or so behind the news because I've recorded a couple of shows ahead of time. So this week we had to mention the fact of Yuzu. We had to mention Yuzu. So I'm not going to mention anything about it, but if you know, you know. So please subscribe to us, like us, share us, bell us, all that good stuff. One Up Gaming. Go to our YouTube channel. You can get our first 100 podcasts at audiobooksontape.com, and £1 of each sale will go to the Diabetes UK charity. I'm doing this out of order, I'm completely baffled. And you can also stream and buy our album, Games Inspired Music. It's available anywhere, Google it. And 20% of each sale will go to the Child Play charity. So, without further ado, we will go into this week's 10 minutes of nothing. So, right. Let's go into this. So, I'll do the 10-minute timer now. And so, this is the Yuzu official website. All it basically says is, hello users and Citra fans. We write today to inform you that Yuzu and Yuzu support of Citra are being discontinued effective immediately. Yuzu and its team have always been against piracy. We started the projects in good faith out of passion for Nintendo and its consoles and games. We were not intending to cause harm. But we now see that because our projects can circumvent Nintendo's technological protection measures, and it allows us to play games outside of authorized hardware. They have led to extensive piracy. In particular, we have been deeply disappointed when users have used our software to leak game content prior to its release and ruin the experience for legitimate purchasers and fans. It goes on to sort of say, we have come to the decision that we cannot continue to allow this to occur. Piracy was never our intention, and we believe that piracy of video games and on video game consoles should end. Effective today, we will be pulling our code repositories offline, discontinuing our Patreon accounts and Discord servers, and soon shutting down our websites. We hope our actions are a small step towards ending piracy. Thank you for your support and all that kind of understanding and decision and all that. So that, my friends, is the Yuzu website now. That's all it's got on there. They don't have nothing else on there. So they've already taken that sort of down. So as you can see, basically what happened was a few years ago, I think it must have been when the Nintendo leaks happened. Oh, I've got hiccups now. I had a shepherd's pie and it's all coming back up. A few years ago now, all the leaks happened, and I think all the source code was released for like the Nintendo Switch, for the GameCube, for all the machines and stuff, so people could actually do emulators with the source code itself. So that's what they could do, and that's what they were doing. I think Yuzu was one of these ones that was doing it, but I think also, yes, there was a free-to-play version, but if you subscribe to their Patreon and were paying money every month, then you got the early access, you got the updates, you got all the better running softwares and stuff. And I think the team were getting like $30,000 a month with all the Patreon stuff. So as you can see, they were making a shit ton of money. Yes, you might argue that an emulator itself isn't illegal, but downloading ROMs and piracy and all that kind of stuff is. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to own up. I have used the Yuzu, I think I've used it twice, to play a couple of games, because I sold my Nintendo Switch and I was so desperate to play the Cruisin' Blast, the arcade racer, and I'm glad I did. It's amazing, but I don't want to pay like £200 for a console just to play that one game. So for me, it made sense just to download this emulator for free and play the game. And yes, it's technically, I'm owning up to illegal stuff, but it's not as if I was pirating the games myself and selling the ROMs and things like that. I think that's when it gets really, really dodgy. So I think Nintendo wanted to make an example of Yuzu because of the fact that they were actually selling the stuff, you know, as they were going forward. So we'll go on to a different website. So this is The Verge, and as you can see, it says Nintendo will agree to, not Nintendo, the Yuzu will agree to pay $2.4 million to settle the lawsuit, so they're not going to court officially. And it basically just goes through that they had to apologise, they had to pull everything, they had to, you know, just do everything that Nintendo said, that to squirm away. And I guess that's the best case scenario for them. Yeah, have a look around, see what you guys think of how Nintendo treated these, or if it's because these were charging money for the stuff, but we'll see. But I don't know if Nintendo, if they're going to go through other things that they've been doing or anything like that. When I say that, I mean, are Nintendo going to go after other Switch emulators? Are they going to go after N64 emulators? Are they going to have to go after SNES emulators? Anything like that? We'll have to wait and see, and just see what actually happens. But it is weird how they've also deleted and stopped the 3DS emulator as well. The is it Citrus? Something like that. They've stopped that emulator. That's also been taken down. And you can tell that Nintendo said, you have to write this, you have to apologise, you have to say it's all because of piracy and all this, that, the other, that it's all happening. And they've accepted the thing, tail between legs, and they've deleted everything, done everything. I still think that the team would probably be, they'd have quite a bit of money, to be honest. Because if I go to a calculator and do 30, then 1, 2, 3, and times that by 12, and then times that by 3, so is that $10 million that they've made, give or take? I'd have a guess. So yeah, what do you guys think? I mean, I've actually got set up on my PC. Oh, what the hell's it called? Just move things around. Retrobat. So I have Retrobat up on my PC. I know for a fact that it is just a graphical front end for like emulators and stuff. So it itself doesn't have any emulators. You have to supply your own stuff, download your own stuff, and put your own ROMs in there, and it just compiles everything into one neat package, and it just works, which I quite enjoy. I have noticed that there's a few other front ends that don't include the ROMs or don't include emulators, and that they've been taken off like some sort of stores. I think there was one that was removed from the Amazon store, and they're not going to be allowed to be on the Google Play Store, which is weird because they don't include any sort of games, or they don't include any emulators to play the games. It's just a front end package to facilitate that. And you go on to the Google Play Store, and you can still get the full emulators, which is what you need to play the games. So I don't understand how they're still up and running, whereas the front ends, was it Retro Nation or something? ROM Nation? No, I can't remember what it was called. There was some front end that's been taken down. But yeah, it's a crazy, crazy time. It seems as though, like, I hadn't really heard that much about it. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I had Yuzu working quite well, and then I updated something, and then it wouldn't work, and I've just not bothered to get it up and running again. Which is annoying, because it was quite fun to be able to play some of these games in full screen on the PC. But yeah, what do you guys think? Please leave comments, let me know. Do you think that this is a win for Nintendo? Or do you think Nintendo is screwing people over because they're one of these companies? I mean, I'm going to say it, I hate Sony for this, where they don't allow you to play your old games a lot of the time, because when Microsoft does things, they have the downloady thing where it downloads the proper game for the console. So you buy the game once and you can buy the different versions. It downloads the different versions. Whereas Sony, like, no, you buy the PS3 version. You'll play the PS3 on the PS4 or PS5. Oh, there's that. There's the timer. But I'm just mentioning this. Sony, it's the same as The Last of Us and things like that. Whereas they released the old game, and then on the new one it's like, oh, we've added this new thing, pay another $50 for it. It's like, no, I've already got the game, it's almost identical, what are you on about? But yeah, so as I say, leave comments, let us know what you think, email us, contact@oneupgaming.co.uk, send us any tweets at OUGofficial, and yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Please subscribe, like, share, bell, all that good stuff on our YouTube channel, and it's amazing to hear from you, it's amazing to get comments. And this is the 10 Minutes of Nothing from episode 390, so we're back after this.
Hi, my name is Justin. I'm the developer of Prix, an iOS space game with cats, and I listen to the One Up Gaming podcast. You can find a link to download my game at facebook.com/PurRocket.
So yeah, thank you all for watching. It's been David, One Up Gaming. It's been episode 390 of the One Up Gaming podcast. This week we've talked mainly Formula 1. I love Formula 1. We've talked a little bit about the Halo Season 2. Amazing, amazing. I can't recommend it highly enough. We've also talked about Yuzu and the 3DS emulator Citrus, I think it was. Talked about the FIA president of getting accused of race tampering. Talked about the F1 Alpine team in shit. And yeah, please go to our YouTube. You're on our YouTube. Please go to our website, which is oneupgaming.co.uk. You can buy hats like this and t-shirts and mugs from our Etsy store. So just go to Etsy and search One Up Gaming, all one word, I believe. And please like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. If you're listening to this on a podcast, then subscribe to us and leave positive feedback, stars, all that good stuff. Really helps when people are looking for us. As always, we're sponsored by Games Inspired Music, and 20% of each sale will go to the Child's Play charity. We also have our first 100 podcasts available at audiobooksontape.com, and £1 of that will go to the Diabetes UK charity. So with that, it's been episode 390 of the One Up Gaming podcast, saying thank you, goodbye, David. Love you, peace.